Mercedes-Benz South Africa has recalled over 13,000 cars sold and manufactured between 2006 and 2019 due to possible brake failure concerns. Globally, the German car manufacturer announced that it is immediately recalling nearly 1 million cars. Let's talk about this further then. We're joined via Zoom by Joseph Silolo, National Consumer Commission Company Secretary. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Thanks very much for joining us here on SABC News this afternoon.
Afternoon to you and to the viewers.
Let's talking about the models that have been affected by this particular recall, but also the role that will then be played by the Competition Commission with regards to this issue.
All right. So we have here the Mercedes-Benz ML, the GL and the R-Class, which have now been recalled due to this faulty braking system. Now, our role as the Consumer Commission is to monitor the recall, because this is a voluntary recall on the part of Mercedes. So our role is to monitor the recall and to make sure that all the affected vehicles are then taken back to Mercedes for them to be repaired and be ready for use.
Yeah, just to understand, whether this is just a precautionary measure, or whether there have been any sort of incidents that were reported that maybe caused an accident or even fatalities due to the failure of brakes. I mean, is that being possibly investigated at this stage?
At this stage, we have not received any complaints from the users or consumers of these vehicles. However, Mercedes-Benz itself has then notified us that there is this defect in the braking system. And as you can see, the recall requires that everyone who is in possession of one of the affected vehicles must immediately stop driving or operating these vehicles and contact their dealer. So at this stage, we have not received any complaint or any report of the vehicles having failed. That might be due to any number of reasons, but the most important part is that now all of us know that there is a fault with the braking system, which may result in the vehicle not braking at all, or in the best case, that the braking distance is largely extended. So you can understand that the hazard is way too great.
I mean, at this point, you're saying that no incidents have as yet been reported as a result of this brake failure. So, how was it then picked up that there is this problem? And on the back of my question, I mean, there's obviously someone to blame when something like this has happened. Would there be any sort of, regardless of whether there's been any incidents or accidents, would there be any form of sort of penalty or punishment for the manufacturer?
How the consumer protection works is that should there be a problem with any product that a manufacturer has produced, the manufacturer must then recall that product and either repair, replace, or refund the consumers. Now, in this case, Mercedes-Benz has then recalled for purposes of repairing. Now, when they have done that, they have not contravened the Consumer Protection Act. However, the law goes on to say, should there be any other damages that are suffered as a result of the defect, then Mercedes will then have to compensate consumers for such defect. Now, let's make an example. You have your Mercedes-Benz, it is now affected. You then take it back to Mercedes for that period where you do not have use of your vehicle, and you may then probably use taxis or hire a different car. If that happens, then Mercedes will then have to compensate you for the damages that are associated with you being without your car of choice. So they will then have to compensate you for incidental damages that you suffer as a result of the recall.
Yeah, there is a perception that big companies, and in this case, let's focus specifically on car manufacturers, tend to get away with a lot, and they tend to get away with murder. You will remember, and I won't say the vehicle brand, but I think anybody who knows the story will recall that there was one particular vehicle that was literally just going up on fire. The cars were just, people would have to get out of the vehicle. In fact, I remember an incident where one gentleman passed away due to the fact that the car really caught fire out of nowhere. We don't hear about big penalties on these particular customers, on these particular car manufacturers, pardon me, and it's almost business as usual. Is it not important to send out a clear message that you cannot be sending out products that are faulty like this?
All right, let's take it a few steps back.
Yeah.
The car in question was the Ford Cougar, and the manufacturer in question was Ford. Now, what had happened there, in the case of the unfortunate gentleman that passed away, there was an extensive investigation that was conducted by ourselves as the National Consumer Commission, and there was an inquest.
Yeah.
The outcome was that it could not be proven that his death was as a result of the known problems with the Ford Cougar. However, the Ford Cougar itself, we then prosecuted Ford for having produced a vehicle that at the time was unsafe. Now, you will remember that there was also a recall. So firstly, the cars were recalled and they were repaired. And those that had already gone up in flames, the consumers were then compensated. There was a compensation, and Ford was fined. At the top of my head, without remembering the specific amount, I would say it was in excess of 20 million rands. So there was a fine that was levied against Ford. Now, in this case, as it stands, we are not yet aware of any other case where, or any case at all, where a consumer has been involved in an accident as a result of operating any of the vehicles that are affected by the recall. Now, we will not know. We are not oracles. There is no way we can know that a specific car has specific defects. It is up to the consumer to then notify us should they have suffered any type of loss as a result of any in any vehicles, food, ever. And in this case, in the affected cars, they then have to notify us of that. We will then investigate. And if we find that the consumer has suffered damages as a result of them receiving a vehicle that is defective, we will definitely take up the case against the manufacturer.
All right. Thank you, sir, for giving us your time and for explaining that to us. And I hope those that are affected do indeed hear what you've said then this afternoon. Thank you, sir.